All right, sorry about that, folks. I had to do a quick restart. If you're ever wondering why I don't host more events, this is why. But we're through the technical difficulties. Um, Hopefully, knock on wood. But this is a very exciting, very meta matchup. Not surprised at all to see TC on Berthold 1 and Barlow on Mimic. These have been really important picks for these two guys. And it looks like a pretty good setup. We're joined right at the start of turn two, it looks like, if I'm not mistaken. Will, maybe you can clue me in on what's been happening while I get everything situated.
Sure. Yeah. So turn one, Mimic built. I forget the exact amount, but it was just kind of the standard build. Bertolt obviously built 5. Turn two, our Mimic player played a Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken, which locked down the award the victor, and then played like a Rapid Speed Slash and got a little bit of damage through, and then built a couple more, and now we're on Bertolt's turn 2 right now, where we started off with a copy of Determined Advance, which we checked a 5 on it, and then we got to re-ready our copy of History's Greatest Monster.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, you might have to click on a new stream, guys. I think refreshing the page should work. I'll type that out in a second here. But
yeah, you should just have to refresh. That's what I did.
Yeah.
And it looks like we fully blocked it with we locked it into the card pool with Ultra Compressed, and then we full blocked it with a Rapid Speed Slash.
Okay, wonderful stuff here. We do have double Determined Advance, though. This has been the hottest button card, shooting up in value, absolutely massive for a lot of these Chaos decks. A lot of people have been asking me, why is this card so expensive? And the obvious answer is the market scarcity for a lot of Attack on Titan 1 cards especially. But I think the biggest answer when it first showed up was the stats not being reduced below printed. This was one of the most reliable ways to actually hit Rodan players. And now we're just seeing like really momentum hungry decks pick it up.
Yeah, the card just does a lot, right? I mean, it's a perfect card to play with History's Greatest Monster, because it's not really a 6 that you commit it and you get to rewrite it like we saw. Yeah, it's a high base speed, high base damage. You can't reduce it below print it, and it prints you momentum. So it's just a great overall card. People finally have just caught onto it.
Yeah, and I love that you talked about playing with like a card that readies itself to like reduce that difficulty. There's also a lot of characters that want to destroy that foundation that they commit. In Godzilla, I was using the 0 diff from, I think it's called Master's Pride, where when you get a momentum, you get to ready it, which is basically the same thing in this case as History's Greatest Monster. But Cheerful Uppercut, looks like we didn't pass the block. Gonna take a good old 6 from this, and that's more momentum Berthold can use once we do that once per game transformation.
Yeah, and that's actually it's kind of funny, because the block, if it happens, it means that we save the 6 damage, but we would have kept the card. We would have kept the progressive in the card pool, unlike because like if Bertolt gets to respond, he gets to put it into momentum, but we get to replace that card with one from Cheerful. So we were trying to mess up with our builds now, because we only have one foundation up with Bertolt. If we get a couple bad checks, we might only build like maybe 1 or 2 foundations after this, and not have a ton up for defense against the Mimic.
Yeah, you want to talk about characters that want to commit something when they play an attack. Mimic's going to get +2 damage when he plays a 6 diff most of the time, and Determined Advance has been a big part of these decks as well. And do not sleep on Mimic with a momentum. Now, I don't know if we're going to see it, but I've been talking it up. I talked up Determined Advance a lot too, mind you, but I've also talked up a lot of the Phantom Threat decks that can exist right now, the ways you can get Phantom Threat to a huge damage number, and Mimic is probably the best at purely putting the damage down. So I don't know if Barlow's playing it. Yeah, I don't think he's played it before. He might not own a Phantom Threat, but that is a one-shot potential move. And when you combine it with the momentum generation from cards like Determined Advance, that one shot potential is happening a lot sooner than you think.
Yeah, no kidding. Um, I'm not sure what we are doing right now. We have players kind of shuffling up cards. I don't know what happened there.
I'm gonna have to talk to a judge. My initial
Yeah,
instinct, my initial impression is a player noticed that they did not unsideboard and are calling
yeah.
a judge on themselves. That is my instinct from playing this game
Do
for
you
10
think it?
years, but I could be wrong. But I will message the judge. In the meantime, we did talk about Determined Advance a whole lot. Are there any other standout attacks from these two Chaos decks that you think we're going to see a lot of, shared between the two of them?
So actually, I interesting. I don't know if there's going to be a ton because like maybe I don't know if TC's playing like Rapid Speed Slash or anything just to get like a way to either refilter a card or anything. He's playing stuff like the History's Greatest Monster and I believe he's playing. Well, actually, I don't know if he's playing City Rampage or not. I would assume so. But I think because of that, the Berthel deck is going to look differently on the attack lineup because he's going to have higher difficulty attacks. Like you probably can get like I don't know if he's on. I don't know if we've got Barlow on Determined Advance or not, but I can see that being one of the only similarities.
Okay. I am getting confirmation from our stream judge here that TC did in fact notice that he did not unside from a previous matchup and called the judge on himself. So a stand-up, outstanding player, but unfortunately, that's still going to result in a game loss. We cannot bend the rules, right, just for calling on yourself. And with these kind of decks too, it can be pretty obvious. I know we didn't get the Waylay call correct earlier, but there's some pretty obvious sideboard options, right? Especially if people have seen a previous version of the deck from when TC won playing Berthold 1 during the winter. So trust me, it's much better to call the judge and get the game loss than to ignore it and hope nobody notices and get DQ'd for not bringing it up, right?
I wonder what card was the one that he noticed was not supposed to be in the deck. I know he kind of pulled one out there at the very end when they were messing with all the cards, and it was a copy of I believe Childlike Appearance, and I wonder if that's one that maybe is not in his main and he has it in his side for decks, and
that's the one that stood out.
That's my assumption for sure.
Yeah, that's the one that stood out to me. That's the one I think he was showing off for that. So very unfortunate, but again, I can only say that it is good sportsmanship to point it out yourself and take the lesser of the two penalties, right? Than try to angle shoot around it. But at the same time, I can't blame people if they don't notice because you didn't notice when you decided, right? So it is unfortunate, but we are gonna get game 2 with Berthold going first. We do see Award the Victor, so Berthold kind of has that built-in combo with Award the Victor. So we talked about how he only had one foundation up in the last game and was definitely not safe from a backswing from Mimic. And we see a cheerful uppercut pickup, so that could be huge. But you got to feel like opening Award the Victor is where you want to be with this Berthold deck.
Yeah, it's a good pickup too. Right? Like I mean, we know that we've got moves like Determined Advance, and I mean we see the other one at like Double Trouble there. It's great. Cheerful is a great card to deal with Bertolt. He doesn't get the benefit of his clear anymore to get momentum because you still get to stuff that card in the card pool.
Yeah, absolutely. And every little bit helps against decks like this. We do check a 3 on our 4-diff. Absolutely going to commit the Nice Try. Nice Try has a response during the rival's turn to ready itself. So kind of a free commit here. I think this is ambush thrust. I want to say it's a 4 mid for 4. And speaking of clogging the card pool, and this time we don't block, we play the runaway. Runaway is going to be more and more important, it seems, as time goes on. Let me get these health totals corrected for you guys. When I restarted, it reset everything I modified. It put it back to round 1. And so I gotta fix all this. But we have 21 for Mimic after losing 4 to pay for the cost of Runaway. That's gonna prevent that attack from going to momentum at the end of the turn. It's also gonna prevent Berthold from being able to respond and add it to momentum off of a block. So a really good way to actually deny that momentum when it's pretty tough. The first momentum is usually pretty free for Berthold. So very good stuff there. And we're opening with, is this Cart Titan attacks? No.
No, I believe that is swarmed by Titans.
This is swarmed by Titans. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah, that is the next check gets a bunch for your momentum for based on your momentum +1. Yeah. Oh, we actually we see Determined Advance in the Mimic deck too. Actually, it's right there on top. So he is also playing it.
Yeah, Determined Advance is just a huge tempo swing if you check well on it. It's so difficult to deal with. It prevents big resets from being used. It prevents incremental, repeatable speed hate from being used. It's just an all around nasty attack. It's got EX for a character who pumps big damage onto it. There's so little downside.
Yeah, there are also cards like Invincible Iron Body that doesn't get to just reduce it to 0. The new like the Hanj 4 Eyes that we saw in our last game. We don't get to put minus, upwards of 5 to 7 damage, not Flask. There's a lot of relevant cards that also mess with damage that this card also doesn't care about.
Yeah, and we do unfortunately check a 3 here, so that's going to cost us pretty much everything, which I don't think is too big of a deal because we probably weren't blocking a second time even if we did get to pick it back up with Struggling with Studies. And we have one of the only cards that is a effective answer to Determined Advance, and that is Cape of No Return. And would you look at that? Mimic's got a cape of his own. Remembering to respond with Mimic on the second asset check here. Maybe we were looking for a better target, which it's pretty tough to think that we have better targets than Determined Advance and Cheerful Uppercut. But it looks like we went for a Colossal Detonation. Very spicy. I've never been able to pass one myself in a Mimic deck. It usually requires lots of copies of Trigger, but we're going to be building a second Trigger, so a couple more foundations, and that Colossal Detonation is going to be a one-sided board wipe, effectively.
Yeah, that's another that's another card that I really like.
Yeah,
I love seeing it being used in this way, like this in this Mimic deck too.
Ooh. What's really good here is this is the other attack that I think is almost certainly going to be shared between the two decks. That's Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken. It's becoming a incredibly prolific attack throughout this format. It solves assets, it solves foundations, it freezes a card to give you that little boost for an additional turn. It's a Swiss Army knife that also you don't want to let go to momentum, so it of course fits perfectly in Berthold 1. This is the answer to the Cape of No Return the vast majority of the time. So maybe TC can get some leeway through here, but it's not going to be easy even with that cape committed.
Yeah, I do know that we do know for sure that they also share this card. It was played in the first game, so this is actually this is a great block here. We don't mind taking a little bit of damage, but we prevent the Bertolt from being able to add this to momentum.
Ooh.
Oh, but we have, yes, of course.
Yep. Award the victor says
We were taking,
after it deals damage, not after it's
yes,
unblocked. So this is going to go to the
yeah.
top of the deck. We can redraw it, and we're going to have +2 to our check to play an attack. And normally that's just to offset the attack being on top of your deck. But because we're going to draw that attack, there's a pretty good chance we check a 7 here.
Most importantly, we get to lock down another foundation on Mimic's side. So I know that this character doesn't play a ton of foundations anyway, but I mean now half of his foundations are locked down from this vast hybrid, um, and we also get to lock down another asset as well. Could be relevant if we want to play more attacks after this.
Yeah, interesting to commit the trigger. It's playable while committed. So not hitting the vertical maneuvering equipment, maybe baiting out the momentum use. Maybe trying to bait that out, but I will say one of the only attacks that Mimic is going to need foundations in order to pass is that colossal detonation. So you can only commit one asset per check with +2 to the triggers, or +2 from 2 different triggers, and the fact that Mimic has to be ready for the blitz or the response after it resolves to be effective. Yeah, we're just gonna end up attempting to block with it. It looks like, because there's no way we're passing this on our next turn. So we did get the momentum use out of the vertical maneuvering equipment, rezoned it to a low, blocked with our attack that we picked up. Going a little bit back to square one, we're going to have 2 foundations frozen, 2 ready, but 2 triggers means there's a lot we can do with very little. Berthold's still at 35 health though, not and sitting on a cape of no return. So probably going to require a vast hybrid chimera kraken of our own if we want to even get a value beyond just forcing them to use cape or a singular blitz ability. Definitely going to need an answer
Yeah,
if we want to push for lethal.
yeah. Ideally, our next turn is going to start with a copy of Vast Hybrid, to be able to get rid of that, to be able to get rid of the cape that's sitting there that's playing defense for our character with 35 health, and then we can also get rid of. We can deal with the struggling with studies as well if we want to push in for like a long string too on top of that.
Oh, we're still going.
Oh man.
We are still going. We got the walk the dog. How many times have you seen a mimic with 4 committed foundations, Will?
Yeah, not many recently. I played a fair number when I was playing him, but it's 4 committed ones though is the bigger thing too. Yeah,
Right.
not
Not
often you see a
only
4 difficulty walk the dog against a mimic deck. This is pushing a lot of damage too. This puts him on the back foot. It's very unfortunate that the sideboard mishap happened because we almost assuredly feel like this game almost assuredly feels like it's getting close to a lock for Bertold here. He's at 35 life. He has a cape. He has now a broken psyche that he just passed. Um, there is an incredible amount of defense on this side of the board that's going to be very tough to get through, I think.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where when you have a lead, when you've got good aggression early and you get things like extra resources, extra momentum, banking offensive resources for later, it makes that defense that much better because you know that your rival is primed and ready to take advantage of any mistake that you make. And good defense forces the rival to overextend and leave those openings. So the health totals tell a very specific story, and that this is all Bert Holt won.
I also don't know if people caught, but the card that we put into our card pool with the Cheerful Uppercut was another copy of the Tournament Advance. That is just one more that we don't have access to be able to play against, to play, right? Oh, this one's
Yeah,
a good
that
one though. Shocking Advance is a shocking advance, shocking entrance. I think it's called. I'm sorry.
shocking entrance. Yeah,
Yeah, another really good one for Mimic.
immediately meets the bonus speed enhanced from shocking entrance with -2 from nice try. So shocking entrance is kind of slow. It's like a too low for 5 or something like that. It's got good damage, but if it's the only attack in your card pool, it'll buff its own speed. So it becomes a very respectable 4 low for 5. Mimic put easily excited on it to make it 5 speed, his own damage bonus to make it 7. So it's a very respectable 5 low for 7 right here. And it looks like TC wants to do something about it. Oh, but it looks like he's going to have to commit some juicy resources. Looks like we're
I
blocking.
think you still do it.
Oh, I believe so. I think you commit the one diffs, and then you have Broken Psyche and Cape of No Return, which we've definitely seen decks go over those effects. You know, Determined Advance doesn't care about Broken Psyche, but pretty much everything cares about Cape of No Return. Uh, a Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken would be a wipeout here, though.
No, instead we just we see more building. Right, another copy of Trigger. We are getting really close to where it's going to be very easy for us to pass a Colossal. Right, all we have to do is just check an asset. I'm wondering if he's going to go and pick it up right now. Actually,
That's a lot of Knots Flasks. Okay, we're at 9 health, but Mimic just put like -15 damage on the board. Sorry, 12. -12 damage. And also +15 if, you know, we survive another turn.
yeah, he has a lot of damage reduction now, which is great unless you're going to sit across from a copy of Colossal of Determined Advance. I'm a little interested in. I mean, I guess it's not guaranteed pass yet, but like I feel like there's a world where we could have picked up the the Colossal because like we're in a world where we can pass that card. We have 3 copies of Trigger in play. We are very like we realistically actually could pass it right now if we check a 5.
Yeah, I
Like on the
think he
next
was so determined on what card helps me survive one more turn the most, and we'll worry about picking it up later. But Colossal also has a pretty good +1 low block, and I'd kind of have to assume that if TC plays 2 or 3 attacks this turn, one of them's probably going to be a low attack or, you know, a walk the dog or something like that. So it might have been the correct block zone to pick up.
We also have vertical maneuvering gear, so even if they don't play, even if like he plays like 2 attacks and they both aren't low, if we absolutely need to, we have -3 speed change zone and then just block it anyway. Now, of
That's
course,
true.
unless Bertolt leads with a vast hybrid and commits down like the vertical or the cape, but we'll have to see what this turn start is.
Yeah, Knots Flask definitely selling those Critical Role Challenger series. I think it's a cool design. I think if there's one critique, maybe one less counter. People are talking about it could have been a 2 diff, it could have not been printed. I think the card is great as a 1/5 non-foundation, and I think if you started with 2 counters, people might not use it so freely. Or if the format just slowed
That's fair.
down, or if it was just like Rodan needed to use it 5 times in a game.
Yeah, I could see a world where that card could have two and also feel perfectly fine.
Yeah, especially since it having ways to add the counters back is very cool, and it even makes me think maybe you could start at 1, and the challenge is to actually get one. Because right now people build their decks and they don't care about getting counters. And this is huge. This is huge for Mimic. We had Mimic believers in chat thinking that the flasks are going to carry him to the W. Well, when your opponent builds and passes, that's a lot more likely.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, so again, we still aren't in a world where we can guarantee pass it, but Colossal is looking more and more enticing right now to be able to put out there. This is a huge board on TC side, and there's not a way I believe that he can deal with just resetting the board.
That's true. This is the exact moment where Colossal would be essentially a checkmate, right? Because you have all these assets, you've got all these triggers. You can even play attacks after the Colossal if it doesn't. Does Colossal Detonation end your combat phase?
No, it is not.
Yeah, you could theoretically play Colossal Detonation and then still pass attacks after that.
It is possible. It would be difficult because you have probably used all of the trigger responses. So you would have to check well. But yes, you could for sure play like another attack afterwards and then like dump a ton into it with Knots Flasks. Because you'd have to assume that the detonation is eating the cape for sure.
Yeah. At the current time, I think the cape is really the main argument for not picking up a 12 difficulty attack. Um, we gotta accrue the answer to that first, which we see on top of our discard pile, is Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken, our premier asset hate in this deck.
Yeah, I wonder if like so if he starts checking assets, I wonder what his first thing is going to be to pick up, because he's also, I don't know how many cards are left in his discard pile right now, or in his deck. It looks like maybe only like 10 or so. So we're getting pretty close, I think, to cycling for Mimic. Maybe it's a little bit more, but I feel like it's a little close. This Rapid Speed Slash is we have what, one card in hand as Bertel. This Rapid Speed Slash is only hitting for 6. I assume we are just face tanking some moves right now, which is actually great.
You know what I'm going to be really jealous of is if TC wins this game by using the flip to deal lethal damage.
Oh, the flip on yes, I know the flip on Bertel, yes.
Yeah, because he's got, I think, burn 3, ruin 3 right now. And if he plays one attack and it gets completely blocked, which it probably won't with this many flasks out, but at some point if Mimic blocks completely, that's a burn 4, and then all we have to deal is 5 damage.
Yeah, we are getting a little low. We did see him pick up that Vast Hybrid. That is for sure going to be a card that we're picking up to start our next turn. We've even got some more foundations as well on board, so we're sitting pretty good right now. I think this is actually pretty even game at the moment, despite the health total.
Right. And especially the more that Berthold takes these pokes, I mean, we took 6, uncontested damage. One more turn of that, and it's like a 1 attack difference.
This also notably, all of this momentum that we're slowly accumulating, this lets us form a turn where, hear me out, we can start our turn with Vast Hybrid to commit down our rival's cape. We get to Swarm by Titans. Swarm says that we get a ton of bonus to our check because of this 4 or 5 stacks of momentum. You can just do that and then lead into a 14 difficulty Colossal, wipe the board completely. He will have no way to answer it, no cape, and the game could just end on the spot.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. We're at a point where the game could end on the spot for a lot of attacks. Unfazed, though. Talk about punishing blocking. Oh my goodness. How do you get out of this one, man? This is going to exhaust the cape for sure, right? This has to get caped.
You can't let this go off twice. Because, I mean, this is just a free 14 damage if you decide to take it, which you obviously can. I'm for sure you cape this and don't worry about it anymore.
Yeah. Looks like Mimic had 4 cards in hand. I know I saw at least 3. It looks like 4.
And unless it's been reviewed, I believe we know 2 of them currently. We know that there was a Vast Hybrid that was just picked up, and I think we're still holding on to a Cheerful from like 3 turns ago.
Yeah, we've held it Cheerful for multiple turns, and the Vast Hybrid is the okay. I'm putting you on the clock now, right? Like, not only do I want this nice block, we're gonna run away, pay the 7. Hope it doesn't get evil versus good. Man, no one plays that card. Runaway is insane here.
Doesn't this just kill him now?
Well, I think he's going to attempt to block and save the cape for...
No, don't we just die because now we form as Bertolt?
Oh, you are correct, yes.
Yeah.
TC is slow rolling him.
Yeah.
Maybe TC doesn't realize it. I'm so mad. I just said I'm gonna be jealous if he gets to do that.
Yeah, you brought it into the world.
Yeah. He's gonna play it again. What if TC kills one of his momentum, or what if Barlow kills one of his momentum somehow, and he can no longer form to win the game?
Yeah, this is both characters not realizing that like the transform will just kill.
Knowing TC, he knows, but is playing it out just to see like what his opponent would do. Like, he is the type of player who believes he will learn better by playing more of the game beyond like a winning play. Oh, the stream is frozen. Try refreshing. It should be good on my end.
Yeah, the only thing I'm thinking though is just I just know we want to try and get into game 3 as quickly as possible. I know that we'll be going second in game 3, but we are, I believe we have about 20 minutes left.
Correct.
Which certainly that's enough time to get a game in and everything, but there is a world where it stalls out a little bit. And so we actually are down to only having 1 momentum now. We have no momentum now.
What are we spending the momentum on?
I don't know. I looked away literally for 2 seconds and I saw that there is no momentum.
I had a player drop me to ask me to drop them from the tournament, so I looked away for a second. We had 3. We paid one for the Echo. We put one in our hand with no, we didn't use that card.
Yeah, I looked to see the timer real quick just to see how much time that they had left. I know that I saw him literally flip a foundation and momentum was gone, and I cannot for the life of me understand where the momentum could have gone. But
And
now we don't have
now
any. I mean,
we
I
we
to
caped
be fair,
something. Did we cape
well,
the echoed
I
attack?
think I guess so.
I looked away for
It was no
one
longer.
second. What happened? How does chat not know?
I don't. I mean, I don't think Chad understands either.
What?
This is a very wild game.
We
I
caped the
mean,
echoed attack?
yeah. I just don't know how we possibly got to the point of spending 2 momentum and then the attack gets caped. I mean, the cape obviously gets held for a while. I mean, we might have the gas just to push through this anyway.
I
This isn't a
mean,
great start though.
this is what I was talking about where like TC knows he won, but he wants to see if he can beat the rest of Barlow's board, and he's confident that he's gonna win anyways. But the runaway got runawayed, so runaway added runaway to the card pool. But then I saw us play the unfazed. Then we lost second momentum out of our 3. And then the unfazed went away, the cape went away, and our third momentum went away, and now we're flipped over. Are we not transformed?
Oh, that Bertold is for sure transformed now. We wanted to give stun on all of our moves and the extra damage. The damage doesn't matter. We wanted to give stun on everything, but I don't. Yeah, this is a very odd game.
We transformed at 0 moment. Okay. I feel like TC knew about the burn win and is trying to see if he can win by just playing attacks too. You know, like he wants to see what does Barlow have in his deck defensively under dire straits in a game where he feels so favored to win. That's my take on this, at least.
I mean, I'm all for that, but like if it backfires, it just feels terrible.
Especially when you lost game 1 because of a deck list error, basically, of deciding error.
Yeah.
Like, you're already down a game and you're playing games like this, you know, you're toying with someone like this. Okay.
Okay. I mean, this check means that this is okay. This almost gets the rest of the board committed because of Bertolt plus itself.
Removes the runaway. Makes sense.
That's so much speed. The fact that the vertical maneuvering was committed down is probably the reason why he can even possibly push through. But like, we still have +3 to our check from these copies of trigger.
Correct. Yeah, if we had the vertical maneuvering equipment available, I feel like this would be favoring Mimic at this point in the turn, right? But because we don't have that vertical maneuvering, it's looking like TC's still going to pull this out with the massive stun and the card already in the card pool.
I'm inclined to agree with that as well. You just put any move after this 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
That's the only check. He could have checked a 4 and passed it, but unfortunately,
then it didn't matter because he had a 4.
See, look at what TC's doing. He's like, even if you blocked, I could have passed another attack. His whole plan was to not win the easy way and was to find out if he could still win the hard way. Like, truly, I believe that was all intentional.
Sure, I will get behind you on that, but I will also get behind the fact that we now have like about 10 to 15 minutes left in this game three.
Correct. I will never say that that is the right thing to do, especially
Yeah,
in a tournament setting, especially
yeah.
when you're down a game. But that is my opinion.
I
It's
think that
not a
game
waste
actually
of
stemmed
time if you're
initially
trying to improve.
from. I think that game initially. I think that turn he survives if we just cape the first copy of Unfazed.
It would certainly
That
change
turn
a
is
lot.
completely different. Yeah,
It would definitely change a whole lot about that turn.
we
It
wouldn't
would
have burned
probably get
seven.
TC to transform while he still had 3 momentum, actually.
Yeah,
Why is this a mentality? Because it's a way to improve. If he practices that longer string, not only does he get more practice by just playing the game, he practices from quote unquote making a mistake. Like if he genuinely makes the mistake, then he now has more experience in a situation where he's made that mistake. And because he didn't get to play much of game one, he can now see different defensive tricks that Barlow might be willing to pull out to try and stay alive in a game where TC knows he has Deception Dagger and Double Trouble and all these other things. So he's not worried about winning in this particular way. Again, it's a growth mindset, I think, more than anything, but it might be the wrong environment for it. Oh, double trigger though? I blinked and we have double trigger game 3. Okay. That
that's a
makes
wonderful start. We even have like this is a great start. If we have like a determined advance as well for turn two, we get to play it, get a momentum, have our fearsome like draw us an extra card to try and like build out even more and everything. This is a great start.
yeah, I mean double trigger is pretty much the majority of games I'm losing to mimic decks. No zero diff for TC here, so having to commit the character and still not getting the fifth foundation versus double trigger opening, like it's kind of like Mimic built 5 foundations. Oh, that's a big pickup. Don't know if we're going to see it this turn or next turn, but with the double trigger responses, we can absolutely pass a Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken turn 2. And if TC doesn't have a high block, this could spiral out of control really fast.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I had to step away for just a second for family and stuff and everything.
You're
Coming back
good,
into the
brother. I'm
shocking
picking
action.
up the slack. We take the 5,
Hey,
go down to 30. Makes sense to me. Worried about bigger threats.
yeah, I mean this is this is certainly a bigger threat, at least a little bit.
Yes. So we have some interesting options here. I think that's Crowd's Darling. Without momentum, that one's not super impressive. Nice Try will ready itself, so you can't really freeze that one. Without momentum, Fearsome Transformation isn't the most impressive, but this deck is built to get that momentum. And then we have another block punishment effect, another kind of gotcha move, and it goes really good with uniques. With that Neji Ray Foundation there, Ryukyu trainees. So we're gonna opt to hit the generic card draw card, just the most obviously useful here. Oh
Yeah,
no!
that makes a ton of sense to me. Oh, we failed that block too. Oh man.
Yeah, we checked a 3, so pretty much the worst of both worlds. Played it patient on the shocking entrance, rolled, checked poorly on the Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken. Not only is that 13 damage, that's 2 momentum. One of it is face up plus 2 speed, which is the stat, Mimic is lacking. and we're sitting on a cape of no return. So even if you want to have and double flask and vertical maneuvering equipment, we've got -8 damage, we've got -3 speed and a zone change, and we have a complete attack negation. We have quite literally everything. You can't even stun these cards because they're assets.
This is actually also very funny. We don't even get to do a commit and freeze on this fearsome because it's already committed. There is no foundation to commit and freeze for this
True.
fast hybrid.
So there's an interesting
This is
option
a
here, um, where you try to hit one of the knots flasks and force momentum usage, or the cape usage, and you just recognize I'm so far behind. I need you to actually use resources for me to have an explosive turn later. But as you can see, Barlow is just not interested. He wants to get back to his turn as soon as possible.
yeah, and because he needs to, right? He went first, so
Yeah,
um,
but the
if
oh, go ahead.
I was to say if in a world where time gets called in like 10 seconds, I mean the game would end like right here. So we're playing at a bit of a faster pace right now,
Right.
because I know that um, we are nearing time in the round.
Yeah,
These checks are not good though for
it could have also in game two been an intentional time play from TC to maybe play for a draw. I don't know what their records are. I don't know why in this situation you would play for a draw. But it's
hmm
the onus of Barlow to concede, right? When you're that far behind and the turn is that good from TC. So
yeah.
at any point either player could have scooped it up, right? So that's another wrinkle to the tournament mindset, is seeing if your opponent is gonna scoop because you're drawing so hot. But we did not check well as TC there. We did not get momentum. I was gonna say the mentality on that last turn might have been force a block because you still get something out of a block, but instead we are just swarmed by titans, and Mimic's next check is passing.
This is a great start. We don't have we technically, if we want to save the responses, we only have one foundation we can commit. So like being able to plus 3 to our next check is a big deal. And that
Yes.
trigger transformation just gets to sit there and wait a while because that card is an incredibly low difficulty right now.
Yeah, and I think Swarmed by Titans is a little underrated because we've seen that effect of you get a bonus based on how much momentum you have, but I don't think any of those say +1, which means Swarmed by Titans will always give you a +1 to your next check, which is much more interesting and much more viable early game than strictly counting your momentum. It also doesn't take up your first enhance like the other two versions I think do, or at least one of them, and it's got Breaker on the defensive side. So I'm actually pretty excited to see this, glossed over ultra rare getting used here by Mimic.
It even has it's even great late. It has Deadlock Stun 2 on it as well. There is a lot that goes for this card. It is good at every point in the game.
Yeah, it's
So
just it,
I like seeing it being used.
and it's a kind of effect that when people aren't expecting, they go, okay, well, how can he possibly play another attack? He's got to play at least two or late in a string, and it's that kind of effect that can really catch people off guard. But +1 high block gonna save Berthold from the early poke. What's gonna be the follow up?
We're
Whoa.
just playing the we're playing our copy of Trigger Transformation, which definitely passes.
Yeah, trigger transformation is only a 4 diff right now. Um, we had +3 to that check, so we were never failing it. And trigger transformation, most importantly, gets +1 damage for each asset you control, but it can also go get the best asset for Mimic, and that is Trigger.
Yep. this move is hitting for, and we saved the -2 speed. So this move is 7 speed. This is hitting for this is a truck right now. We're hitting this for 14 damage.
Yeah,
13
I
damage right
believe
now.
so. It's got +7, and I believe it starts at 6. I think it's a 5 mid 6 printed. I think
Yeah,
it's for
it is. It's a
13.
5 mid 6. Oh, we're really pushing the numbers on this one. We verticaled, and I think we're using both of the knots flasks.
Yeah, I think we recognize that -2 speed probably not gonna do it here. We're gonna
Oh, this is
force.
just lethal. This is just lethal.
Yes.
We get to give it the 8 damage from both the knots flask, and then we get to give it another 3 from vertical.
Oh, offensively, Mimic commits not splash for +5, so this is definitely super
I'm
lethal.
sorry, yes.
Yeah. We gave it the
So we don't even
vertical
need to use we don't
maneuvering.
even
We
need to use
gave it
vertical.
the um, Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken speed before we got there. We even get to save some of our stuff for defense, and we are not even going to be able to attempt to block. So there you have it, right? That's very similar to the Phantom Threat gimmick, if you will. Very, very big move from Mimic there. Once you find the speed, Mimic definitely delivers on the damage.
Yeah, that was a ton, and it almost felt like it was kind of out of nowhere, right? Like there were still 5 cards in hand there for Mimic, and like multiple responses to use on trigger. There was a ton that was still left over, and we found 22, and we didn't have the runaway.
Yeah, that's pretty much where we were at. We were at runaway or bust. That was the only thing that was gonna save us, and it wasn't there, unfortunately. So, um, that is gonna do it for round 4. We're gonna take a very quick break. Well, maybe not super quick, but we've got 3 minutes before overtime here. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back with round 5, the final Swiss round. We're gonna find a really, really cool game for you guys, and then there's gonna be a 30-minute lunch break. We're gonna have the pizza party. Thank you to Zach and all the subscribers today. I think we hit 26 subs today, so we're gonna have a quick little pizza party during the dinner break, and then it'll be time for top cuts.
Awesome. That sounds great, dude.
All right.
Thanks for letting me come over here and talk with you guys for a couple games.
Yeah, man, always a pleasure. All right, guys, we're gonna be back. We'll see you very soon. One. What's up
And how's it going, everybody? Zach and I are here. We're going to be talking about the character breakdown in a moment because I've been passing around a graphic that A, I realized got cropped off, and B, I was planning to talk about more throughout the day than I have. So I meant to get to this earlier. I know that. Sorry, one second. The graphic got one of the names cut off, and the most important thing is the echo is brutal. Okay, hold on.
Okay, did that fix the echo? Sorry. I think I fixed it. I forgot to mute in. Zach, you talk for a second.
TC is defending himself from my gonna lose it on TC in the Let's Talk Discord. So, TC, man, just read your cards, brother.
Okay. So we figured, okay, we got the echo fix. Sorry about that. When I had to restart my computer, it undid like all of this stuff that I've done today. So I had to spend all of the last round doing it. So that's been a cool part of the day. I think also the symbol breakdown says character breakdown. So let me address the character breakdown really quick. So on the character breakdown, the only characters that I put on there are the characters that had 2 or more representation throughout the day. So that's the number one thing. Is people sometimes put like the wrong name. They put like Godzilla, but not Godzilla King of Monsters. So if I missed any of those, I'm sorry. But this is the breakdown of all characters that are not singleton characters. If I did the pie chart as like an accurate pie chart, it would just show half as other. And I don't think that that is like a great way to portray this information. So it's pretty simple. We've got 7 Godzillas, 4 Byakos, 3 Berthold 2s, 3 Reiner 2s, which was the biggest surprise to me personally. We have 3 Ymir. We have 3 King Ghidorah, 2 Pony, 2 Berthold 1, and then that gray sliver at the top is actually Kenny Ackerman, the Ripper. And so those are all the characters that were registered as more than one copy. That's 29 of the characters. There's 25 characters that only had one person register them.
That's really cool. I really like the one-of characters. Obviously, we've seen 2 of them play each other. And as a big Kenny believer, I'm excited to see 2 of them. I'm sad that we haven't seen either of them on stream. But maybe we'll get lucky and find one in round 5.
Yeah. So this is what hopefully I'd like to find 2 of those singleton characters playing for a top cut spot, because I do think that we're almost definitely going to see at least one Godzilla. I know Godzillas haven't been doing the best on stream today, but I have to assume we're going to see at least one Godzilla. I'm expecting at least one Ymir, but I really think the top 8 has a good odds of being 8 unique characters.
I know what a couple of the top folks are playing, and we've got a few unique ones. I am excited to see what the kind of like 5 through 8 scrum looks like. We've got some popular names that look like they're going to be fighting it out for the last few slots.
There's a lot of 3-in-1s, is there not?
Yeah. There's a handful of 3-0-1s too. There's a lot of people who are not safe to draw. There's a lot of people who are not, that have to play it out and hope they get the W.
Yeah. And then I've also got the symbol breakdown here. I don't know what went wrong with this one, but it got labeled as character breakdown. And then pretty much the same thing here, where we've got 1 void, 2 water, 2 fire, 3 evil decks, and 3 all symbol decks, which might be the biggest surprises. 6 life decks made it in. 7 earth decks. Who was playing these earth decks? It's probably the 4 Byakos.
Well, all 4 of the Byakos.
Yeah. We have 12 death decks, and right in front of them is 13 chaos. So chaos remains, the Domineer of the format. Those two at the top that got cut off because I was using a free chart maker at the last minute is Order. So we had 2 Order symbol decks as well. So that's the symbol breakdown. No air decks got registered at all.
None of the pony believers were on air.
Nope. Both the ponies are the 2 fire decks, I'm pretty sure. Oh, we have an earth pony. We have an earth pony and a fire pony.
Interesting. There's a lot of air pony believers floating in the world. I'm surprised.
Can you
showed up?
Do you recognize what other symbol besides air is missing from this chart?
Good.
The good symbol.
That's not a real symbol anymore. That one's fake.
Hey, at least air has attuned cards. Good has an excuse not to be there. What happened to air, man? Air was in the last few products.
Its symbol identity and Attack on Titan is 2 mutually exclusive things.
Right.
It is have cards in card pool and clear cards from card pool.
True, that is pretty ridiculous. It also has count the number of cards and like remove them. So you still need to have a lot in the card pool and then you need to remove them, right?
Yeah.
So
the air characters are just doing weird stuff. You've got John counting like clearing and doing stuff with momentum, and you've got Connie when you take damage you get a momentum or something, but
yeah, and when you clear the card pool with his card,
yeah. Who's the character when you take damage something happens, but they're a 7-hand? Oh, that's the Tekken character.
It's the new Jean.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I'm also thinking of the Tekken character that
when you take damage as your 723.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
So, and it's funny because, like, strictly speaking, where air's symbol identity is in like the most broken parts of the game. It has historically been readying foundations, it's clearing the card pool, and it's had sub-themes of generating momentum to compensate for all of that card pool clearing, because you don't get to add those attacks to momentum at the end of the turn if they deal damage. And all of those things are just unfair if they're really good. Like, they're truly what breaks the game at the highest levels most of the time. So I can see where Connie, who discards a momentum to clear a card from the card pool, and when he clears it, he gets it to momentum, is, you know, too insanely good to like provide a bunch of support. But I think it's really showing that there's been so many products that came out, right? People got fatigued on products, and they're just pumping the same 2 symbols up.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of extra thoughts to add to that, but yes.
Fair enough. The round 4 has completed, so we are going to be doing round 5 coming up here. We're going to be looking for hopefully an exciting bubble game, and then we are going to have a 30-minute break for all the players to go get food, use the bathroom. I'm sure Zach and I are going to want to take a moment to grab a drink. You know, maybe we'll be back to chat with you guys throughout the pizza party. Going to have a 30-minute pizza party. And then it'll be time for the top cut. So let's hear what you guys want to see. What are some characters you haven't seen yet? Round 5 pairings are up.
Who do we got? Table 1's definitely going to draw.
We've seen Ryan Kogod on screen before, right?
Not today.
Not today. We got Charles C versus Ryan Kogod. I think they're on the 3-in-1s. Marvin Emery versus Tam Cardwell is good, but that's doubling up on a stream. Table 3 might be good to watch. Have we seen Bill Evans and Corey N yet?
We have not. I suspect Bill is probably on Godzilla.
Yeah, so we have seen a Godzilla. They're at 301, so I don't think they can. Oh, Corey's 3-1, so I think they're gonna play. Let's check in on table 3. I'm in the wrong Discord. I just got tagged by my raid leader. Right,
this is definitely Godzilla.
Yeah, he is on Godzilla. We might want to pick a different matchup just because of Godzilla. Have you watched Disaster Dan yet?
No.
Where's he at?
He
is table 2. He's probably going to draw. Let me see if they're drawing, actually.
They're 301. I don't know that they can.
Oh, they're shuffling. Let me mute this stream and let me just ask really quick.
This is a Godzilla mirror. Yeah.
Here. Is chat okay? I'll throw it to chat really quick. Chat, are you gonna hate a Godzilla mirror on a winning in? We can find a different matchup. If chat poo-poos it like emphatically, I'll pick a different matchup. But
do we know what Kyle's playing on David versus Kyle?
Oh, David versus Kyle's not bad. We can swap to. It's definitely it's Nejire versus probably a 5-hander. I think I'd rather watch a Godzilla mirror than Nejire versus like a 5er. Is it Mineta
It's
2?
Byakuo.
Is it Mushroom Girl?
No, it's Byakuo.
Oh, okay. Come on, we gotta watch the Godzilla match, right? You pick.
The other choice.
I'm
down for whatever. Down for whatever. If you want to watch the Godzilla mirror, we can.
All right, we're gonna do the Godzilla mirror because this is the highest rated winning in. That's my take. Okay.
When it ends on turn 3 in 8 minutes, we can go find another match.
True, the best of both worlds. See,
it's webcam. It's easy to go find another one.
See, man, now you're thinking positive. You gotta look on the bright side of life. So Dan is on the top. So in this Godzilla mirror, who do you think has the advantage? Godzilla or Godzilla?
I can't see their deck lists. They're both using the textless regional promo art. So I'm going to give it to the person with the coolest playmat.
Are they actually textless?
Yeah.
Oh, but they have like keywords, don't they? It's like weird.
They've got the name.
Because they've never done like true full arts.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to the person with the Akuma playmat. I think that's an Akuma playmat.
The top cut mat or the flames mat or the Akuma? Oh, you said Akuma. I thought you said the cooler mat.
I did say the cooler mat at first, and I'm judging the cooler mat to be the Akuma one.
Yes, the Akuma mat is the cooler mat. That is true. I hate that sentence coming out of my mouth, but that is true. Did I spell this guy's name right? Okay.
We've got a build 3 out of I don't know who's who. Top cut playmat.
Yeah, Disaster Dan's quality is a little choppy, but I could make them all out if I had a full minute. Like it's Award the Victor, Fearsome Transformation. Okay, now they're gone. There's a Chivalrous Competitor, and we failed a Fast Friendship. I can't tell what the second card was.
Titanic Combat, probably?
Oh, Titanic Combat makes sense.
And on so Akuma playmat is Disaster Dan. Is that what we're confirming for me? That means Top Cut playmat is Jonathan.
Yes, Top Cut playmat is Jonathan.
Okay.
So it looks like we got the Strategic Meeting. That's one of my favorite Godzilla cards. It's not a first form, and it allows you to start your turn with a momentum, which is kind of a big deal right now. It fights for deck space with a lot of 3 divs, but it's probably one of the most like ruthlessly efficient, and sometimes you get to draw a card that you really wanted instead. Very, very solid stuff, and this is a great opener City Rampage into the best attack in the format, Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken.
Yep. This is the classic Godzilla opener, and it's just gonna dome Dan for 10.
Ooh, and it's such a big deal.
And we got another one. Another one. We checked 2 3s on these though, so this is the end of our attacking. But if we just get to deal 20, it doesn't matter. And we're gonna freeze half of our opponent's stage.
Yeah, we're gonna not only freeze half of our opponent's stage, we're gonna deal half of their health and damage, and we're gonna have +4 speed on our next turn over the course of 2 enhances. That's
Jonathan is discarding a momentum. He's not done.
He can't fail this. +4 to the check with only 3 progressive and his character up. Unless that was a runaway. There's a chance.
But if we build nothing, we're risking getting backswung, right? Like, I've seen Godzilla kill people on 2 foundations. It's not impossible.
Yeah, so now I think this takes it from a guaranteed attack that we could have played into a risky maneuver. So kind of wasting a momentum there into the runaway. That could be the tiny little edge that Dan needs to win this game from going second.
And it looks like Dan's leading off with a Jaw Titan.
That's my guess.
A little low, but I see some purple and green. It's got to be a Jaw Titan.
Yeah, it's considering it looks like we checked 1 card, so it's got to be a 6 diff. Yeah, and then we go down to 25. Which means it was a 9 damage move. So yeah, Jaw Titan makes sense. And we gained a little bit of health back up to 20. So it has to be a Jaw Titan confirmed.
Yeah, now we're building Chivalrous, Fearsome, Easily Excited. Passing the turn back.
Not a whole lot of excitement. But I'm assuming that's one of the better attacks we could have played in that scenario.
Yeah, we just decided to keep the momentum. The backup doesn't do much in this matchup. It could counter your opponent's Jaw Titan if they're playing it.
That's pretty much it. So
we're leading on Walk the Dog. It was a 5 diff here because we only had 3 committed, but we checked at 3, so we're half of our stage is now committed.
But we have 1 momentum, and this isn't a bad attack to put +2 speed on to open things up at all.
Yeah, I can see this coming for... And this is swallowed by an abnormal, right? So we can even make this 9 speed for 10. This is representing half of Dan's life total. And we're going to get the full commit out. Yeah. But we didn't use the momentum, so something... Oh.
Uh-oh. If there's 1 Walk the Dog, there's probably 2. Yeah, our opponent is basically at our mercy at this point. I wouldn't be surprised to see this momentum get turned into powerful 3 now. We didn't use it to buff our check, so it's got to be another Walk the Dog, right? No follow-up. Okay.
There's no other move. Yeah.
There's no other move. Buying an extra turn with that fat Godzilla body? I guess he only has 6 extra health, not 11.
Building the Broken Psyche here goes a long way. Dan's stage isn't going to pump damage at the enhanced step, so
that's true.
When we're ready to push the Broken Psyche button, whatever move we do is going to be for 2. Oh, but never mind. We're just gonna the stage is just on.
Yeah, we also decided that Broken Psyche was as good as you're saying, and because of that, it must pay for its crimes. And a battle arena. Oh, and a broken psyche
And a
of our
broken
own, I
psyche of
think.
his own. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. I mean, if you're gonna have to fight your way back in, that's not a bad place to start. Oh no, but the pass through walls coming in clutch, denying any potential shenanigans. But committing Godzilla here means we're not going to get bonuses to our check to block.
I mean, are we going to need to? Like,
what a great
opponent's going to
build.
play one move and we're at 25, right?
We got to build 5 after our rival blew the board up. In any other scenario, that 5 draw would have been awful, right? We would have been like, man, we drew 1 attack. We don't even know if that last card's an attack. But now, because our rival blew up the stage, it's a totally like perfect build back to kind of go first. But we do get to commit and freeze the pass through walls, so maybe our asset does come into play.
Yeah, this is best case scenario for Dan. He gets to lead with it, commit the pass through walls,
deals with it
to make use of his asset. What's the rest of this turn gonna look like? I don't feel like you can aggress too much because what
is that a smash?
You check a singular 3. This has to be,
yeah, it's a low.
I only play the alt art smashing stomp because it's adorable, so I haven't looked at a regular art smashing stomp in a while.
The legally distinct Reptar stomp.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that one. It's so good. Like they nailed it with that promo. So smashing stomp is cool here because it also gives you +1 to your next check to play an attack. So it could allow for some of those shenanigans that we thought were going to be denied by the rival canceling battle arena, but that didn't happen. So a deceptively close game now. It's 11-12. Did you think it was going to end up being this neck and neck?
Like a turn ago before the board wipe? No. Before the game started? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. I always expect Godzilla games to be one-sided.
No, usually they're back and forth, and then someone dies. And this is an unfazed hand. This game.
Really quick. Speaking of someone dies, we did strategic meeting, and instead of the add to momentum, we got the add to our hand for unfazed, which is huge.
Yeah, and I thought unfazed was going to come down first, but instead we played determined advanced, and we checked a 3, which not great. But this is going to represent basically all of Dan's life total.
Yeah, this is gross to say the least.
Why did this get committed?
It was supposed to be frozen, and I think they just realized it.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to use those counters, guys. You got to get that class reunion box. You got to buy all the...
redeem them on the prize wall at your local nationals.
Hell yeah.
I think those are going to be on the prize wall.
I actually would love to get custom tokens made that say freeze or built or like whatever they're supposed to be. I would love to get tokens that just say that on them. I think freeze is the only one I use.
Are we? Oh man, we just broken psyche this down to 6.
That is heinous, actually. That is so not good.
And now we have a smashing stomp now. This is gonna get 2 speed. I wouldn't be surprised to see this get the EX also.
Yeah. I mean, that's where we're at. You can't even run away at this point. It's forced the rival to block,
Yeah. But we did Godzilla enhance for a bonus to our check, so we checked a 7.
Okay, and if we have the Godzilla bonus here, This will pass on a 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, and we did. Looks like we passed.
And we're gonna scoop it up. So that was a game where Jonathan was in the driver's seat the whole time, but you got to imagine he was sweating it on a couple of those turns, right?
A little bit, I think. You know, it's whenever your opponent board wipes, you do have to kind of hold your breath a little bit that you draw foundations. Because boy, when you draw one afterwards, do you feel bad? But he drew 5, and so it worked out for him. But had he only drawn like 1 or 2 there, he could have been in a really bad spot. I don't think we have access to these players' sideboards to see what they're bringing in. But I would imagine we're going to see some number of runaways coming in. We're probably going to see maybe additional pass-through walls.
I would love to see Incredible Display, and I would love to see Evil versus Good. These are 2 cards I haven't seen all day, and they would be canceling tons of runaways in this tournament.
Very true, very true, very true. Evil versus Good is such an underrated card, but is very hard to fit in my opinion, to these like slim Godzilla decks. Because you only have so many action asset slots, and if you're playing City Rampage, where are you putting it?
Yeah.
But we will see what happens. We're gonna have Dan on the play, and it looks like he has a grip he's happy with.
Yeah, I think it was every game I played with Godzilla, I was siding in runaways, hoping I would not fight people with incredible displays, and hoping I would scout my opponent's runaways so I could side in Evil versus Good, which it was a lot of actions to play together. You know, like I have to choose, do I cancel their runaway or do I play my own? You know? But even that enhance to lose 2 health and get -2 difficulty, which is kind of like -1, can be pretty handy when you're dealing with such narrow margins as we've seen in this format.
So I don't know if this is in the main deck or not, but we just saw Genkai's Guidance checked, and I can also see this being a sideboard card that Jonathan is playing in addition to or instead of Runaway.
Genkai's Guidance really fell off because it felt like it legitimately put you behind, especially with all these characters who like have to sacrifice foundations to do their enhances and things anyways. But I feel like it's going to come back because it beats Blitz abilities, and we're in a format where you don't want to have 9 foundations or like contribute to a total of 10. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see it come back, but a card I don't expect to go anywhere until it rotates is Vast Hybrid Chimera Kraken, the big freezer on campus.
I mean, it could be banned.
It won't. There's no way. There's no shot that they just like, because there'd be so many great defensive pieces that will just go untouched in your stage, and you can't ban the good defensive pieces.
Yes, you're right. Kraken is.
It would be replaced by something that is functionally the same. So, like, you remember when Back Alley got banned, and it was like, oh, this is because the 100% decks are too good and we won't ban the SR that just came out. Like, it might catch a ban like that where it's like, oh, Chaos is committing and freezing everything, you know, or like Nice Sword Execution is getting momentum pumped enough now.
And this is the classic Godzilla line, right? This is a dangerous turn if you're Dan. I don't know how many cards he has in hand. Looks like 1.
Yeah. And it looks like both players checking a 3 on their City Rampages.
That's the rule. You have to.
Yeah, that's how that goes. Why won't it be banned? I can't imagine it is broken. Well, yeah, that's why it won't be banned, because it's not broken. It does kind of have an NPE when your opponent plays 2 of them on turn 2. So I will say it's NPE when your opponent has multiples. It really makes you feel like there's nothing you could do in the current format. There are cards that stop it, like Unbreakable, but they cost a momentum to cancel. So when you don't play Determined Advance, but they do, it feels pretty bad. So this is a 7 mid 10 currently.
Yep, and we're gonna have +4 to our check on the attacking side, +2 to our check on the blocking side. We're blocking on a 10. We've checked a 5. We're choosing to fail. We're Titanic combating to get an extra foundation.
Oh, it looks like that was for 11 somehow.
Maybe we swallowed by an abnormal it.
Yeah, we gave it a little +1, little boosteroni there. Now we've got the Titan Cliff.
Pitching a Broken Psyche here is a choice. That tells me we either are killing our opponent or we just have another Broken Psyche, I guess. But I don't know. That's a good one to pitch when you just hit with a move, right?
Oh, a second Titan Cliff? Oh. We went to the supermarket. We went shopping.
We have another 6 diff to build, or we're just dead?
Is that 13?
Or 6 check to build? Oops. Well, this one's for 9. This one's for 10, right? We need any other move.
I mean, if it'd have to be like a walk the dog to pass on an 8.
Well, it doesn't look like he built another 6 check.
Oh yeah, that's definitely not gonna pass. 7, 8, 9, 10. We check 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We could have passed that with a 5 check. That unfazed our third 6 diff in a row. Holy moly, man! If he would pass that would have been
Sam.
That would have been worth the price of admission for sure.
This is how we game with Godzilla.
Man, yeah, if we had been able to build another 6, I don't know if we still passed it, but a 4 diff there would have passed. I gotta say the Titan Cliff in this format is actually really sick. Being able to discard 3 and draw 3 to get to the cards you need, like Runaway, like Cape of No Return, is so good. And being able to build cards like Pass-Through Walls that cancel cards like Cape of No Return, also, and Knots Flask, in Battle Arena, also seems really, really good. So, if you're gonna be playing Titan Cliff, though, you really gotta build the foundation back because it doesn't quite afford its 6 difficulty stats because of how good the discard and draw and that build is to offset the cost.
Yeah, I was a little surprised. I don't know if I missed it or he just did it really fast. But I didn't even see him do the loot on the second one.
His hand might have been so good because he was at 2 or 3 cards left anyways, right? He would have been reviewing his last card. But we do have double Jaw Titan, so gonna heal back up to 7. That kind of lets us partial block one more time or play one more runaway. But we've also got our opponent on the ropes. We're just going in.
Yeah, this is a smashing stomp? Question mark?
I think this is...
It's a Godzilla attack.
It's got to be a 5 diff, right? It can't be... It looks like a 4 diff, but...
It had stun? Question mark?
Is it... Godzilla has a 5 diff with stun 0 that gets stunned for every card in the card pool.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. And it's going to get runawayed at the exact right moment to leave us at 4 health. The Barn Burner?
We had to check a 5 on it because we were committed out.
It's 4 to 7 now? Or 5 to 7. I don't know whose totals are correct.
It should be...
We should have lost 5 on the runaway, I believe.
It probably doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're gonna hope it doesn't matter. I'm gonna update it at 5. Or we're gonna update it at 4. I don't know whose is correct. But I imagine an EX move is gonna just do it in anyways. And here's an EX move. Oh, there's an EX move, Zach.
Yeah. We'll just EX6 this one. You got -2 speed on board. You know, it's only 8 speed with our 2 ready foundations.
Yeah, not runawayable, right? Because it's a 6 damage, so the 5 or the 4 doesn't matter.
Well, he was at 7. That was runawayable.
What?
Dan was at 7.
Dan's at 7. Yeah, that's true. That's because he gained from 3 up to 7, though.
Yeah.
I'm saying on the other side.
Yeah, but Dan was the one getting attacked by an EX move.
Correct, yes. But I'm saying the health from Jonathan's side didn't come into play.
Yeah.
Because he was the one I was confused on. But that's going to do it. Jonathan's going to take it 2-0 there. Wow, I mean, we blinked and it was exactly what we talked about. Big EX move, right? That does give us time to shop around if we want to check out a different match. What are you thinking, Zach?
Yeah, that's fine with me. We still have a lot of people playing. We've got Corey is playing Bill, so that's another Godzilla game. Marvin is playing Tam. I don't know what either of them is playing. I imagine Marvin is playing Pony.
Yeah, I'm wondering what is table 9 playing.
Rodan and Godzilla.
Okay, it's another Godzilla. Let's just Snuggie and Wub. Did we watch Wub already? I think we did.
No, we haven't.
No, let me check what they're doing. It's Pony and Byakko. Let's check this one out. I don't know where we're at, but let's pop this one on.
Okay.
Let's give the people some more gameplay today, baby.
I'm pretty sure the Byakko's about to kill him. So
yeah, I don't think this one's gonna be. At least this game isn't going on much longer. But
yeah, this one